Paying 54% tax is bullshit. We are ridiculously and gangsterly overtaxed.
The CRA is literally sitting on money that belongs to you, and most Canadians have no idea.
Most Canadians have no idea this even exists. If you try to leave Canada for good, the government hits you with something called a departure tax.
Canada has a massive problem. Well, actually, Canada has several massive problems, but one of the biggest ones is a tax problem.
Why do they want my money? Who's gonna benefit more from money? Me or them?
Canada's tax system is broken for workers. You work 12-hour shifts 7 days a week and still barely survive.
Let me ask you something. A serious question that nobody wants to say out loud anymore. Where is all our money actually going? Because right now in Canada, people are paying more taxes than ever before. But somehow, life is getting worse, not better. Housing? Completely out of reach. Healthcare? Falling apart in front of our eyes. Groceries, rent, fuel, everything keeps going up, except your quality of life. So what exactly are we paying for? Because this doesn't feel like a system that's working anymore, it feels like we're putting more in, and getting less and less back every single year. And the scary part? Most people feel it, but nobody is talking about it, not loudly, not honestly. In this video, we're going to break down what's really happening in Canada right now, why it feels like everything is slipping at the same time, and what this could mean for your future if nothing changes. Because if you think this is just temporary, you might want to pay very close attention to what comes next. And before we get into it, if you care about real, unfiltered conversations like this, hit that like button and subscribe.
Somebody asked me a couple days ago, why do Canadians even pay tax? So you can ship it over to Ukraine, fund gender surgeries, ship it third world immigrants who don't work, who want to take over the country? I told them it's a frickin' joke. We actually get back unaffordable housing, third world healthcare, and more crime. And that somehow there's always money for things that have nothing to do with Canadians. Most people don't know what taxes were made for. It's supposed to come back to the people who pay them by building a country you could actually live in. But instead, we get excuses and a lower standard of living every year. Let me get one thing straight. So the people who pay the bill are last in the line? That doesn't make any sense. The reality is this, people aren't mad because they hate helping others. They are angry because their own lives are getting tougher while the lazy and entitled are reaping the rewards.
Tell me why I owe the government so much money. Me. I owe them so much money. What do they want with me? Why do they want my money? Who's gonna benefit more from money? Me or them? Me. Every time I get a thing in the mail, it's, you owe me money. I didn't put you in debt, Canada. I didn't do that. Now you need money from me? This seems like not my problem. This seems like your problem. So stop making it my problem. You're telling me you just went, oh, let me go back in time and see if she actually owes us money. And then 2 years ago, apparently, you decided to give me money, and now you want to take it back. Huh? That's not fair.
Canada has a massive problem. Well, actually, Canada has several massive problems, but one of the biggest ones is a tax problem. Okay, so here we look at most families overall are paying about 42.3% in taxes. That includes federal and provincial. The more money that you make, the higher taxes that you pay. But it also depends on where you live. So as you can see, as we get to the bottom, the provinces that pay the most provincial taxes are British Columbia and Ontario, which are about 15%. So federal tax can be about 33, 35, and then your provincial tax is 15%. So on average, many middle class or upper middle class families are paying over 50% of their wages in taxes. Then you go out and you buy things. You buy groceries, you buy gas for your car, anything that you buy, there's more taxes for that. We were paying this magical carbon tax that has temporarily, and I say temporarily because definitely our government is going to put it back in, but it was to save the environment, which is a joke, but that was also another tax that was on, that Canada was having to pay. Then when you die and your relatives inherit your property, your children or whatever, they then have to pay more taxes. When you look at the overall taxes that many Canadians are paying, it's over 50%. That is a problem. That indicates that the country is in major shambles. If you are paying over 50% of the money that you make to the government, somebody else is getting it. Guess what that's called? Slavery. We are essentially slaves in our own country if we are paying over 50%, which our family was. We've since left Canada, but that is ridiculous. And the worst thing is that most Canadians either don't know, don't care, or they just go along with it and say.
For all my Canadians, tax season is here. I have a question. How do you guys spend your tax money? I'm very nosy. I'm very curious. I want to see if I'm doing it right, or if I need to, save more. Or
Paying 54% tax is bullshit. We are ridiculously and gangsterly overtaxed in Canada. They're getting more than us. It's not right. No. We should be dropping the GST tomorrow. We should be dropping the income tax rate tomorrow, and we should be cutting the size of government by 15%.
At least. Or more, yeah.
I perform citizenship judge duties as an Order of Canada. I also recognize they have 3 people doing what I have in my company with 1 person. It's disgusting.
Canada's tax system is broken for workers. You work 12-hour shifts 7 days a week and still barely survive. If you're a laborer making $60K a year, nearly 30% of your check is gone before you even get to see it. And that's just income tax. Before GST, property tax, and insane rent prices eat up the rest. After taxes, you're left with around $42K. Now subtract $1,500 a month for rent, $800 for groceries, $400 for gas, and you're already in the red before you even save a dime. And the crazy part is, the more you work, the more the government takes. Welcome to the endless loop of just working to survive. Does this feel familiar? Comment below and drop a follow if you're tired of this life.
Most Canadians have no idea this even exists. If you try to leave Canada for good, the government hits you with something called a departure tax. Let me explain how crazy this is. The moment you officially leave the country and stop being a tax resident, Canada pretends that you sold all of your assets, even if you didn't sell them, like stocks, investments, certain properties. The government literally pretends you sold everything the day you leave, then they calculate the profit and then they tax you on it. Let that sink in. You did not sell anything, you didn't receive any money, but the government says, congratulations, we are taxing the profit anyway. Why? Because they don't want successful people leaving their wealth. They want their cut before you walk out the door. And most Canadians never hear about this until it's too late. That is the part nobody talks about when they say, just leave Canada, because leaving the system still means paying the system first.
So where does that leave us? We're working harder, we're paying more, and yet somehow we're falling behind. That's the reality a lot of Canadians are quietly dealing with right now. It's not just about expensive rent or long hospital wait times or grocery bills that don't make sense anymore. It's about something deeper. It's about trust. Because when people start asking, where are my taxes actually going? That's not just frustration. That's a signal that something in the system isn't adding up anymore. And the truth is, ignoring it won't fix it. Pretending everything is fine won't change anything. The only way things get better is when more people start paying attention, asking questions, and speaking up. Because right now, too many people feel stuck. Like no matter how hard they try, they can't get ahead. And that's not how it's supposed to be. Canada was supposed to be a place where hard work meant stability, where families could actually build a future, not just survive month to month. So the real question is, how long can this continue before something breaks? I want to hear from you. Are you feeling this pressure too? Are you getting less, even though you're paying more? What's changed the most for you in the last year? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Let's have a real conversation. And if this video resonated with you, make sure you like, subscribe, and share this with someone who needs to hear it. Because the more people that see this, the harder it becomes to ignore what's actually happening. Until next time, stay aware, stay informed, and don't stop asking questions.